It's wild to think about, but just a few years ago, artificial intelligence was kind of this niche topic, right? It was this fascinating puzzle discussed mostly by researchers and tech enthusiasts tucked away in labs. Today, oh, it is a full-blown global arms race. We are talking about hundreds of billions and very soon, trillions of dollars on the table, with global supremacy literally on the line. The world's biggest tech companies aren't just investing in AI because they want to, they are investing because they absolutely have to. So, welcome to this explainer on the Silicon Triumvirate, where we're going to unpack the massive high-stakes battle unfolding right in front of us. All right, here is our battle plan for today. We're going to break down the AI arms race, look at the heavyweight bout of OpenAI versus Google, explore Meta's open source rebellion, reveal the real winner hiding in plain sight, NVIDIA, look at their three competing visions, and finally we'll talk about the massive global stakes.
So let's kick things off with Section 1, the AI arms race.
Okay, let's dive into this. At the very center of this conflict, you have OpenAI, Google, and Meta, and they've all been forced into this high-stakes battle just to survive. Now, for years, Google was the undisputed leader. Back in 2017, a Google research team actually published a massive breakthrough in the field. But then, flash forward to November 2022, and OpenAI, who had been operating in total stealth mode, drops ChatGPT on the world. And boom, AI instantly shifted from an academic pursuit to a mainstream consumer product. Google's dominance was literally shattered overnight, and the company that essentially started the race was suddenly chasing the startup that launched first. And here is the absolute craziest part of this whole story, the incredible irony of it all. "Attention is all you need" is the exact title of that 2017 research paper published by Google. That paper introduced the transformer architecture, which is the exact same breakthrough that now powers ChatGPT, Claude, and pretty much every major model threatening Google today. They literally invented the technology that is currently being weaponized against them. That sets us up perfectly for Section 2, OpenAI versus Google, the startup versus the sleeping giant. For Google, OpenAI wasn't just some pesky new competitor. No, this was a literal existential threat to their core search advertising business. So the sleeping giant woke up. They launched Bard, eventually rebranded it to Gemini, and just totally weaponized their ecosystem. They started pushing AI across Workspace, Gmail, Android, Cloud, you name it. And look, you can never ever count Google out, because they possess the ultimate moat. They have unparalleled data, pretty much limitless computing power, and 2 straight decades of infrastructure experience. But hold on a second. While OpenAI and Google are trading heavy blows over these closed premium products, a third player is making a highly counterintuitive move. Why on earth would Meta, a multi-billion-dollar tech giant, voluntarily give away its highly advanced AI technology for free, knowing full well that competitors are going to use it? Which brings us to Section 3, Meta's open source rebellion. So, Meta decides to pull off this radical pivot. Instead of charging everyone for access, they just release their powerful Llama models as open source, completely free. And because it's free, thousands of global developers start building their own applications on top of it. Almost overnight, Meta's ecosystem becomes the industry standard. By forcing all these developers into their lane, Meta is running the exact same playbook Android used against Apple's iOS back in the day. They aren't just selling a product anymore, they are positioning themselves to own the entire underlying ecosystem.
All right, let's move on to Section 4, the real winner, NVIDIA.
Okay, here is the massive plot twist in this entire war. While all these titans are fighting it out, a quiet fourth player is making an absolute fortune. It's the classic gold rush analogy, right? You have the gold miners, OpenAI, Google, and Meta, spending billions and billions fighting over AI products. And then over on the side, you have the shovel seller, NVIDIA. Every single one of those giants relies completely on NVIDIA's chips. Without their GPUs, these massive AI models literally cannot be trained. So at the end of the day, the people selling the shovels are the ones making the absolute most reliable money. Let's zoom out a bit for Section 5, 3 different visions. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down the actual endgame here. Each of these companies fundamentally believes AI should evolve in a completely different way. If we map out their distinct lanes, we see 3 totally different philosophies. OpenAI is hyper-focused on premium products, and they're definitely currently leading in public attention. Google is relying on ecosystem integration, giving them a massive edge in distribution. And Meta, they are entirely focused on open source, absolutely dominating developer adoption. But history tells us tech markets rarely stay this perfectly balanced. Someone is inevitably going to pull ahead. And that leads us to our final part,
Section 6. The global stakes.
Because honestly, this battle has grown way, way beyond a bunch of Silicon Valley CEOs fighting over market share. Trillions of dollars are on the line. Training these advanced models costs billions. Building the massive data centers and securing all those NVIDIA chips costs billions more. We are rapidly approaching an era where the mere cost of entry into this race is measured in trillions. If you fall behind financially now, you are essentially losing the future entirely. You see, AI is no longer just software. It is a foundational, strategic necessity. Think about the advent of electricity, the internet, or even nuclear power. The United States, China, Europe, and India all recognize the exact same thing right now. The nation that leads in AI is going to gain massive, completely insurmountable economic and geopolitical advantages.
And look, here is exactly why this matters to you and your everyday life. This technology is going to fundamentally transform everything. We're talking about discovering completely new drugs in healthcare, hyper-personalizing education for every student, revolutionizing software development, manufacturing, transportation, the whole shebang. The ultimate outcome of this corporate war isn't just about who builds a slightly better chatbot. It's about who gets to control the literal platforms that will define how our entire global society functions.
Which leaves us with a pretty massive lingering thought. These giants are fighting tooth and nail for a future that hasn't even been written yet. But if the winner truly gets to shape the next chapter of human civilization, what actually happens if one single company becomes too powerful? This AI war is definitely only just getting started. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to seek out more deep dives, because behind every major technological revolution, there is always a bigger story. Thanks so much for learning with us today on This Explainer.